When people hear the word abundance, they often only think about money. But in my experience, abundance is so much more than that. It's about time, it's about energy, it's about feeling safe, supported, and trusting that life is working with you, not against you. In today's episode, I want to talk about the abundance mindset, not from a hustle or manifestation angle, but from a grounded, real-life perspective. We'll explore how scarcity thinking quietly shows up in our decisions, in our nervous system, and the way we move through the world. And how shifting into abundance is less about forcing positivity and more about learning to trust yourself and life again. If you've ever felt like you're doing all the right things, yet you're still bracing for things to fall apart, or that abundance and wealth is for other people but not for you, or no matter how hard you try, it still doesn't feel like enough, then this episode is for you. I'll help you to shift into trust when you feel scarcity taking the lead. This is less about money hacks or manifesting millions, and more about the internal relationship you have with life itself. Thanks for tuning in today to the Can I Get a Refill podcast. I'm your host, Steph Bruno-Newton, and as always, do be sure to check out my website, www.canigetarefillpodcast.com.au, linked in the show notes, to download your free 33-page ebook on 7 steps to protect your energy and fill up your cup. As we always cover, you cannot pour from an empty cup, so I've designed a guide for you to help you take care of yourself in order to up-level your life. Download it today to make yourself a priority in 2026. Okay, let's continue with the episode. Let's look at the difference between a scarcity mindset and an abundant mindset. A scarcity mindset says, there's not enough. I need to protect, control, or compete. Abundance mindset says, there's always enough. I can trust myself and life. Don't be tricked into thinking that abundance is a woo-woo topic or it's toxic positivity. Abundance is not reckless positivity. It doesn't mean ignoring reality. It's about how you respond to reality. Abundance isn't just what's in your bank account. It's about how safe you feel in your body when you think about the future, which is why so many of my episodes touch on regulated nervous system, your relationship with the self. It all comes back to that. And you yourself might know someone who's very financially wealthy, but do they seem happy? Do they have healthy relationships? Do they have a healthy body? Do they exercise regularly? Do they do things for themselves to fill up their cup? Abundance is the overall. So you might like to jot down in your journal which areas you want to have more abundance in. Finances may be number one. I know that's something I'm working on at the moment. Then it might be relationships. It might be romantic partnerships. It might be family and friends. It might be spending time with your children. It might be time. It might be shifting how you work so that you have more time for yourself or with your children. That's definitely something that I've explored in the last year. And money is very important to me, but I realized that time is my number one commodity. That's what matters most to me. It might be about your physical health, your spiritual, your emotional, all of that. In my morning journaling practices, I like to journal about my future self or my ideal life or my ideal self. And what does she do? And I often think, she has a great night's sleep. She has a good morning routine. She has a beautiful, healthy green juice after she wakes up. She spends time meditating, journaling, writing out gratitude. She has enough time to spend good quality time with her friends and not feel like she's rushing off. She has enough time to sit and play with her son. So where does scarcity really come from? A lot of research out there suggests that our money mindset kicks in from age 3 and is conditioned by around age 7. So whatever we're hearing when we're growing up, when we're so small, anything you're absorbing from Disney movies, your parents, your school, any of that conditioning has formed your money mindset today in your adult years. So if you heard, don't waste, money doesn't grow on trees, only bad people get ahead, you can only buy property if you've been given money through family, none of these were fact. These were just someone's opinion, but your mind has taken it on at such a young age to believe that it's fact. It doesn't even have to be just about money. You might have been living in a home with divorced parents, and you might have heard from your mother's side that you can't trust men. You might have heard from your dad that you can't trust women. And you might have grown up thinking that you just can't trust a partner, and maybe that's affected your personal relationships. A lot of these generational survival patterns are just passed down to us. It might not even be through ancestors that you've met. It could have been passed down from generation to generation. And this is why nervous system regulation is so important when it comes to abundance or manifestation. Scarcity equals nervous system in threat. Most scarcity isn't logical. It's protective. I want to share something really personal with you that I've touched on in previous episodes, but never really talked details about. And I've said that I found teens and 20s in particular really, really hard, and I was in an abusive relationship. But in this particular episode, I want to focus on the money mindset I had. And I was a straight A student. This is why I'm a bit iffy about school systems and how much they're teaching us. I don't know if they've changed now since I've been in school, but I wasn't taught about what to do with my money. I wasn't taught how to do taxes. I was taught Pythagoras' theorem that I've never used in my adulthood. But I didn't know anything. I had no financial literacy. I suffered low self-esteem. And a former straight A student spent her 20s in severe debt. Severe debt. I don't need to discuss the exact amount, but it was tens of thousands of dollars. And it wasn't like a gambling thing. It wasn't like I borrowed this huge amount. It was, my income was at this lower level. My spending was at a higher level, and it wasn't matching up. And so each year the debt got a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And I would just think, oh, it's okay, I can borrow money and pay it off. But if your income is not increasing, that didn't actually match up. So what started as a very, very small borrowing turned into something so huge that I felt no way out of it. And I'll tell you what absolutely shifted. I was in it for years. And there's one word that I can put to it that really just made it worse and made me think there was no way out of it. And that word is shame. I had so much shame around it, like I was a failure. Like I completely failed. I failed my future self, my future family. And there was no way out. I was listening to a finance podcast, and they would do money diaries where other people would ring up once a week and talk about their financial issues. I'll tell you, She's on the Money. You've probably listened to it. I feel like I'm going to cry. All the shame was removed. I felt a sense of sisterhood, that all these women out there had debts similar to mine, slightly less than mine, way bigger than mine, somewhere like $150,000 to $200,000 debts. Hearing that other people were going through it at the same time as me completely removed the shame, because I didn't tell people about it. I felt terrible about it. I ended up getting other jobs. I worked 3 jobs. I was able to borrow money to pay off the bank debt, which the interest was just ridiculous. Within 1 to 2 years, I paid off this huge debt. I now own property. I now have savings. But what shifted was my money mindset. And I once I removed the shame, I was like, I can do this. I can work out a way to pay this off. And as soon as that shifted, other avenues that I had no idea were available to me popped up to me to help me to pay off this loan, to help me to pay off this debt. And whilst I'm still working through money issues and I'm increasing my income all the time, but there's still issues that I'm still working through. But I went from a place of real fear of opening any letter or of any email, into a place of more internal peace. And I would say lessons learned. I learned something about myself. I learned more about financial literacy. I definitely got into a better place of gratitude. That's something that helped me through it. So every day I look around. If I'm feeling scarcity creep in, I like to look around, point at things and say, abundance. I walk along the ocean. There is so much water. Abundance. I walk through these beautiful leafy streets with the most beautiful trees. Abundance. I come home, I spend time with my son, we play together, he applauds every time I sing. Abundance, so much abundance. I have an empty house today to record a podcast whilst my husband takes my son out. Abundance to have me time. My groceries were delivered yesterday. I looked at bags and bags on the floor of all this beautiful, nutritious food. So much abundance. And I think, the mind is conditioned to look at the negative over the positive as a protective mechanism. We get it. Otherwise, we might be jumping off bridges. But you need to shift it. You need to be in control of it and shift it from scarcity to abundance. And you need to look around, because I guarantee you, no matter how much scarcity or debt you might be in, you have so much more abundance than lack. All of us If you are able to be watching or listening to this podcast right now, you have more abundance than lack. And to talk about money specifically, money is a source of energy. It needs to flow. So let it flow without constricting. So as you're paying bills, let it flow. You never know. Look at the money like, I am paying for someone to buy their groceries today. If you had, bought something off a small business, it's flowing. It's always flowing. Even if it was something as simple as you playing a $10 lotto ticket and you don't win, you could look at it like, I've contributed $10 to that 10 million going to someone to change their life. And then one day that might be my turn and someone else's $10 might be a very small fraction of my 10 million. It might sound silly, but your money's always going to a good place. It's always going to someone who may need it. So let go of the constricting feeling. Let money flow. Let it flow in, let it flow out. There's always more, and it's always going to come back to you. And always, always, always value your work and your time and price your services, your goods appropriately. Don't be afraid to raise your prices. Other people do. Expenses increase. There's something I see with a lot of women who do that where even when I used to sing and I always felt like guilty for asking club owners and bar owners to pay me for my gig. Why? I had put hours into rehearsing, hours getting ready, hours performing, lots of effort to perform. That I should have been charging more. There's something really funny about the arts though, where sometimes people have an expectation that you should be doing it for free because it's a gift. No, that's your gift. That's your talent. That's your time. Make sure you're always pricing your work appropriately. So as I touched on, have a look at how abundance is showing up for you in everyday life and not just in money, not just in physical things. Time abundance is such a special one. Being able to not rush. Emotional abundance, not needing external validation. So working on the self. That's true abundance, having that relationship with the self. Opportunity abundance, not fearing missed chances. And self-trust abundance, knowing you will always figure it out. And I always think that true abundance is knowing that even if this doesn't work out, it'll be okay. In a recent episode, when I was talking about detachment, I said that you have to always be okay with not having the thing. And every time I've been able to say, I'll be okay, or maybe that just wasn't mine, that was for someone else, and mine's coming to me, I always get more than I need. So scarcity is clinging to something. Scarcity is clinging. So just let go of that and just trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the universe. It's all predetermined anyway. Okay, let's talk 6 practical ways to cultivate an abundance mindset. Number 1, awareness. Noticing scarcity language. I can't. There's not enough. What if it runs out? You can always choose to reframe your language. If an opportunity arises and you have lots of bills that week and you can't pay for it, you can say, that sounds amazing. Thank you. Not right now. That doesn't align with my budget, or that doesn't align with my values, or that's not in line with my budget at the moment, but that's something I can look at in the future. There's a million ways you can say it, but I can't afford it is horrible language because the universe is recognizing that you cannot afford things. You can say not now, just not now. And this is where affirmations are really important too. Say you're looking for your life partner. If you're constantly walking around saying, I can't trust anyone, I'm going to end up alone, it's never going to happen for me. You know what? As Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. It's probably going to happen that way because that's the energy you're putting out into the universe. You might choose to say, the love of my life is on his way to me. My ideal partner is looking for me and we're going to meet very soon. I love and I am loved. That's something I say all the time. I have healthy and harmonious relationships. I wish others well and they wish me well. That can go for anything, colleagues, friendships. Saying affirmations are great, but feeling that emotion in your body as you say them, that solidifies it. So really focus on what you want, what you desire. Feel it in your body and know you are worthy of it. Number 2, pause and regulate. This is something I never used to do, but I am doing now as I get older. Breathe before making decisions. Even something as trivial as impulse purchases. I do a lot of shopping online and I put things on my wish list and I have a think over the next few days and decide if it's aligned with me or not. And a lot of the time I think, you know what, I really don't need that. I've got something similar already. So pause, have a good think, and breathe before making decisions. And this goes for sort of, as I'm recording this, it's Mercury in retrograde, and that affects a lot of your communication and relationships as well as technology. So maybe just have an exhale before you respond to a tense conversation. Number 3, reframing. What would I do if I trusted myself here? I used to listen to this wonderful Paul McKenna CD back in the good old CD days about, it was called I Can Make You Confident. This was back when I was just getting back into doing singing gigs, and I used to get really, really nervous. And there's this line that he says, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? That is such a wonderful line. Recite that to yourself. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Number 4, evidence. Recall past moments where things worked out. We have a tendency to tap into the times when things didn't work out and remember the 1 or 2 insults out of the 100 compliments. So really focus on the positive and focus on when things worked out. Think about when a really big bill came in. I know you found the money to pay that, and I know you ended up making more money again after it. So think about, when did I succeed? When did I succeed? That will help remove some of the fear and the scarcity when you know it's going to work out. You know what? Because it always has. Number 5, boundaries. We touch on this in nearly every episode. Abundance often requires saying no. Now, we only have a certain amount of time and energy in the day. So if you're saying yes to things that aren't quite aligned with you, are they taking time and energy away from things that are more aligned with you? So having healthy boundaries is a really good way to just conserve that time and that energy and even your finances. And number 6 is my absolute favorite, celebrating other people's success. When it comes to like career, wealth, I never feel that pang of jealousy of, oh, I wish it was me. I get so excited and motivated when I see peers, other people my age or even younger, because I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it. That means there's more chance that the opportunities will arise for me. It's so inspiring and motivating. If there are other people who have really inspired and motivated you, take screenshots of their best moments on their Instagram, print them out, stick them on your vision board. It's something really to work towards and to aspire to. But also it's beautiful energy, the energy that you're giving them, congratulating them, whether you know them or meet them or not. That's abundance. That is an abundant mindset. Be happy for them, because the feeling of other people celebrating you when you win is a beautiful feeling. It's a beautiful feeling. And I think we've all gotten off the path of kindness a little bit. It was a buzzword a few years ago, and we all wore T-shirts to be kind, and somehow it's fallen off track a little bit. So that's all part of abundance. The theme of all my episodes is tuning in and listening to the self, creating time and space for yourself, creating boundaries, because true abundance grows when we stop abandoning ourselves. I'm going to reference Alyssa Liu again, the figure skater who just won gold. My whole Instagram feed is Alyssa Liu, and I couldn't be happier about it. And Donna Summer's song, MacArthur Park, is shooting up the Spotify charts because I cannot stop playing it, and everyone's playing it at the moment. Alyssa Liu didn't abandon herself. She was always a brilliant skater, but there was so much pressure on her. She was being told what to eat, to lose weight, what to wear. She retired, gave it all up, traveled. She chose 2 things. She chose herself and she chose joy. And when she came back onto that rink, no one really thought a gold medal was possible because she had retired. She didn't even care. The gold medal wasn't the goal. Performing and being in joy was her goal. And you look at her face, it makes me cry, especially in her gold outfit in the last performance. She is enjoying herself so much that it's contagious, and we're all in love with her. We're in love with her because we want that for ourselves. We want to feel lit up inside. So I'm telling you now, always, in every situation, in every day, in every choice, choose yourself and choose joy. That doesn't mean that you're abandoning other people. That means that you're prioritizing yourself. That is abundance. So let's talk about the common traps that keep people stuck and not abundant. Forcing positivity, that's out. Authenticity is in. If you're feeling crap, You don't have to show up today. You can do a Harry Potter marathon under your weighted blanket, and you can eat ice cream, you can eat gelato. Don't force things if they don't feel right. Be honest, be authentic, do what feels right in the moment, and always, always speak your truth. Comparing timelines, comparisons altogether are the thief of joy. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't have rigid timelines. It's non-linear. You're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. Don't compare timelines. Hoarding. You know, when you watch those current affair programs of those creepy old people who hoard newspapers and their whole home is like a fire hazard, and you can just imagine there's smells of dead rats trapped behind the piles of newspaper. What kind of energy do you think that's putting out into the universe? So if you're hoarding money, if you're hoarding love, if you're hoarding energy, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Let it flow. Let love in your life flow. Let the relationships flow. Let the money flow. It's going to come, it's going to go. It's not always going to be exactly the same. And that's okay. That's what it's meant to do. Water doesn't stay perfectly still. It flows with the tides of the moon all the time. And the final one is so applicable to me, and my very first podcast episode touched on this. It's waiting to feel ready or to feel safe first. That doesn't exist. You're never really ready. And I remember a lot of people say this when you're trying to have children. All people who already have children always say you're never really ready. And that's true. You sort of learn as you go. But it's the same with starting anything. Why do we have this? It's the perfectionist personalities. Why do you have this thing in your head like you should be completely prepped or completely brilliant at something when you first attempt? When children start walking, they fall, they fall, they fall. They don't look at themselves with shame of, oh, you failed. Someone might have seen that. They just keep getting back up. Treat yourself like a newborn attempting to walk and applaud yourself with every step and with every fall. Just know it's just part of the course. You're never going to feel safe. You're never going to feel ready. Jump in, figure it out as you go. So over the next week or so, have a look at where in your life you're gripping tightly instead of trusting. Maybe you could choose one small moment where you act from trust instead of from fear. You were born with abundance already in you. So abundance isn't something that you earn. It's something that you remember. Before we close, I want to leave you with this. Abundance isn't something you arrive at one day when everything is perfect. It's something you practice in small, everyday moments. In the pause before you react, in the way you speak to yourself, in the choice to trust instead of tighten. If there's one thing I hope you take away from today's episode, it's that you don't need to force abundance into your life. You don't need to hustle for it, prove that you're worthy of it, or wait until you feel completely ready. Abundance begins the moment you stop abandoning yourself and trust that you will be okay, no matter how things unfold. So this week, I invite you to notice just one moment where scarcity shows up and gently ask yourself, what would trust choose here? Abundance isn't about having more. It's about trusting more. Trusting yourself, trusting your timing, trusting that you'll be okay, and trusting that you are just innately worthy being born, and trusting that what is meant for you is already on its way to you. And remember that there's more support available to you than you think. You are not behind. You are not lacking. You are not running out of time. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this episode resonated with you, please consider sharing it with someone who you think might need to hear it too. And as always, I'll catch you in the next episode.